Go ahead and begin. Thanks, folks, for joining us this afternoon for this roundtable. We are here in the Senate Indian Affairs Committee, and this is an issue, prediction markets is an issue that has generated a fair amount of interest, I would suggest, as I look to my vice chairman. Interest and concern and kind of a desire to have, if not action, certainly a more open conversation about what we are seeing within the prediction markets, and more important to that, what it means for tribal entities, the tribal implications and beyond. So here in the committee, we've invited tribal, state, and public health leaders to help us better understand the rapid growth of what we're seeing with prediction markets and what that means for tribal governments, consumers, and communities. I'll be the first one to admit that I was asleep at the switch when it came to what was going on with prediction markets. I don't know, maybe you were more involved with this. I was not. I was looking at them as kind of this novelty thing, and yet our reality is today millions of Americans are using them. One leading platform reports having more than 5 million monthly active users. And these platforms are really being integrated into everyday life, but they're raising important questions about the utility and safety of prediction markets and the legal status of the event contracts that are being bought and sold on these platforms. The number and variety of event contracts individuals can buy has exponentially increased. Individuals can now trade on many different questions. And, you know, it's fascinating what is out there. You can bet on whether the Federal Reserve is going to cut rates this year, what the high temperature in New York is going to be. It's all over the board, and we all know that. And again, I think we're still in the early stages of this industry, and many of the most important legal questions remain unsettled. Courts across the country are currently considering whether sports-related event contracts are a form of gambling. Many tribes and states argue that these sport event contracts amount to sports betting and therefore should be subject to tribal and the state gaming laws. Prediction market platforms and CFTC, in contrast, take the position that these sports event contracts are swaps, a financial derivative, and therefore a federally regulated financial instrument under the exclusive jurisdiction of the CFTC. CFTC has also recently proposed new rules on prediction markets and the type of events that contracts may or may not made in the public interest. Senator Schatz and I sent a letter urging the CFTC to conduct formal tribal consultation because this rulemaking is far-reaching and we think it can have significant implications for tribal gaming. This is a concern to us in this committee. We all know the importance, the success that tribal gaming has had for Indian country in terms of supporting essential tribal governmental needs, social and economic services, to help perpetuate, protect, and revive tribal cultural practices and languages, as well as funding payments and donations to state and local governments. But the benefits that are spread, I think, are well recognized. FY 2025 tribal gaming operations generated a record $46.2 billion in gross gaming revenue. The broader economic output of Indian gaming was estimated at approximately $110 billion in the U.S., and that includes jobs, wages, and activity in supporting industry. So I think it speaks to the point about a disruption to the gaming industry and the consequences that would go far beyond casino operations. It could affect tribal governments, families, and rural areas at a time when many are already dealing with increased prices and constrained economic growth. So what's clear is that prediction markets will have impacts on the economy, communities, and families around the country. What is unclear is the full nature and extent of these impacts. So we're happy this afternoon to have participants around the table who will share their views from tribal, state, and public health perspectives. So thank others that are part of the committee, as well as Senator Bozeman. We welcome you to the Indian Affairs Committee room for this important and timely conversation. Vice Chair Schatz.
Thank you, Chair Murkowski, and thank you to all of the testifiers and for everyone in this packed House. I've met with many of you over the last several weeks and heard about the impacts of unregulated trading on prediction markets on your gaming enterprises. And I want to quote a federal judge in the Ninth Circuit on pending litigation. It looks like gambling to me. And, you know, a lot of us are so hyper-educated and hyper-technical in our thinking that we forget to look at the app and see how it may or may not differ from FanDuel or MGM sports betting. And the real answer is, if you want to bet on the Philadelphia 76ers to win the NBA championship, you can do so through a gambling app, or you can do so through a prediction market app. The consumer experience is exactly the same. It is not a commodities contract to hedge against the variability in the price of fertilizer or corn or any other input. It is a workaround of both federal gaming law, generally speaking, and the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act. And so I'm very glad that on a bipartisan basis we are starting to raise the alarm, not for any specific sort of mercenary protection question between gambling operations, but because what this new avenue for gambling does is threatens to essentially eviscerate the budget of Indian country across the country. And I've met with you and I've heard from you, and it definitely differs by tribe. But there are some people now meeting in tribal council trying to figure out what to cut. Public safety, education, infrastructure. And so we work really hard on the Indian Affairs Committee and then in the appropriation side on the IHS budget, the BIE budget, the BIA budget, and so on. And what is about to happen to Indian country's revenue pales in comparison to anything that we could do to replace it. And so we all have to have a kind of family conversation about how we're going to sort out the various opportunities to gamble. I should say game. I know that's sorry, Catherine. I should say game and not gamble. I like gambling. Personally. Yeah. But this is a very serious moment, and I really applaud both the chair of the Indian Affairs Committee and the chair of the Agriculture Committee for being here to take this very seriously, and I look forward to the conversation.
Great. We do have colleagues that are here. I'd love to give everyone a second to make a statement if you'd like, or we can just go to our witnesses, but happy to open it up.
Oh, thank you so much, Chair Murkowski. I'm really excited and interested in this conversation. Don't need to make an opening statement. Appreciate the chance for us to hear from everybody.
Thank you. Senator Bozeman?
Likewise, I just want to thank you two for having this. This is something that's really, really important, and I'm very, very anxious to hear what our distinguished panel says, so thank you.
Excellent. Senator from the gaming state of Nevada.
The gaming state of Nevada, thank you. Listen, I appreciate this conversation. It is important, and this is an area that I have also been hearing from our tribes, from gaming hotels and casinos, gaming properties across the country, and labor, that at the end of the day, when we're talking about these prediction markets, a majority of them are actively engaged in sports gaming or casino-style gaming. And I think what I've heard from the tribes and the gaming community across the country is that it's not that they want to outlaw them altogether. It's that they want to preserve their right to regulate in their space, and we will find out today. The tribes have regulated this in their space. All right? The Indian law has given you the ability to regulate it. The states have traditionally, like Nevada and many, have had the opportunity to regulate that. That's all they're looking for. Because right now we have a federal government and the CFTC that wants to take that away. And that is what I am hearing from so many we will hear the repercussions why they want to preserve to regulate it. But I appreciate this conversation because there's more to this conversation that I think many of us need to hear. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now turn to those we've invited to join the committee. I'm going to ask you to try to keep your comments relatively brief so that we can have a broader conversation. This is not a hearing, this is a roundtable, and so the opportunity for engagement so we can ask more questions of you is appreciated. I know you all have statements. Those are all going to be included as part of the record of this roundtable.